Okay, we're back. We are here broadcasting live. Our guest is in the green room currently. Mandy, share with the people how you're doing and how your birthday weekend was.
Ooh, well, happy Monday, Amani. It's good to see you. And my
Likewise.
birthday weekend was fabulous. I had a talent show. I had a 50th birthday party talent show, and it was hilarious. I told my friends the only gift I want for my birthday is your time and your talents. And they brought it. They brought it. They brought it. They brought it. And it was like everybody brought some sort of different talent. And we had like food and drink for the first hour and a half. And then the talent started at 7. And it was a blast. We had a stage. People read haikus. Scoot, my husband, created. Now you've seen his tiramisu before, right? You've seen it. We've seen it
Yes.
on the show. So he said, Mandy's favorite dessert is tiramisu. So as you are all doing your talents, I am going to prepare a tiramisu for all of you live. So while people were on stage, Scoot was off to the side with the table and he removed this sheet and he had the KitchenAid mixer and he was literally making a tiramisu live. So at the very end, when all the talents were done, he presented us with the tiramisu. We all ate it. It was so fun. So, like, was that somebody did a ribbon dance to Chariots of Fire? It was one of our past guests, Tim Mulligan, did a dramatic reading from his new play called Twitchland. He has Twitchland and Snitchland. It was so fun. So I was honored that my friends did that. But I all I wanted was joy and giggles all night, and I got it. So it was really great.
All
It was
right.
really great.
Sounds like it worked out well. Go ahead.
Well, now what about you? I want to ask you because I just got your one of your social media posts that shows all of your book events this month. Can we just quickly? You look so busy. Can we talk about your August book events? There's so much on your plate.
Yes, yes. Thank you. So we start off, we're going to go to Miami, and I have two events when I'm in Miami. And also, I used to work and live there. So we're going to have a reunion of the hotel I used to work at. So that'll be in
Fun.
Miami. And then after that, I head right from Miami to Dallas. And
Mhm,
Dallas, I'm part of MPI's thought leaders. So I'll be there speaking about the written
mhm,
word. And then I go straight from Dallas to LA for first day of school. Then I come back home, and then I'll go to do DJing at Nico's the end of August. So that's kind of the plan. Those are the
yeah.
book events, and it's just the tour continues, as they say.
The tour continues. Yeah, busy year, Monty. I'm so happy for you.
Yes, yes, appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Thank you for asking. And yeah,
Yes.
we're just trying to stay busy.
Stay busy. One last thing. I want to give a shout out to everybody that donated to my birthday fundraiser, the California Hotel Lodging Association Hospitality Foundation. I set a goal to raise $5,000 for students. We give scholarships to hospitality students. And we are about like $350 away from reaching our goal. So if you still have anything left in the tank, every little bit counts 10, 20, $50, whatever. Every little bit counts. You can go to my social media, Mandy Graziano, wherever you find me. You can find the link. But just thank you to everybody that donated. And we're still climbing and we're so close to the goal. So everybody's making a big impact. So just thank you, thank you, thank you for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, congrats on that. I
Thank you.
want you to share, as we introduce our guest, you have an interesting story about how our guest was one of the first podcasts you were ever on. So tell the story and we'll use that to introduce her.
I have two stories about our guests. The first one
Okay.
is yes, our guest Donna, who interviewed me in 2021. It was the year my book came out, and she was the very first podcast I was ever on. And I listened to her podcast, Anything and Everything, and it was so good. And I was like, Donna, how can I support you as you're doing this? Because this is a really good podcast. She interviews different business people, and their stories were great. So I was like, how can I support you? Do you need a guest? What can I do? She's like, yes. Do you want to be on? And then I was on, I think, I don't know, a couple weeks later. And it was so well done. It was such a great podcast. So that was the first one. I'll tell another story about Donna throughout the show.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, you
So there
tell
we
your
go.
story about Donna. Yeah.
So we have Donna's right here and she's on the screen. So round of applause for Donna Murray appearing to the stage.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
All right. Welcome in. We're excited to have you. and we look forward to talking to you and learning more about you. This is something newer I started to ask guests, but if you were to describe
Yeah.
yourself, who is Donna in 30 seconds or less? How would you describe yourself?
Donna's gosh, Donna's a lot of things. People connector. Um, I always get called an influencer, not social media influencer, but just an influencer in the industry amongst my friends and family. But yeah, mainly a connector.
Okay, so you're a connector. Tell the people, because you do many things, what like what's your current professional roles in plural do you kind of work? What are you working on now? That's a good way of asking that.
Yeah, sure. So I currently am the COO for Current Event Rentals. It's a local event rental company here, pipe and drape, decor options for weddings, corporate events, social birthday parties, all the good fun stuff. And then I also am the chapter president for Heels and Handshakes Las Vegas. We just launched the chapter here in Vegas in March, and we're kind of growing it. It's not just hospitality and special events focused, but it's all industry. So that's kind of new. It's my newest baby. And I'm also part of a book launch. So I'm writing a small chapter in a book launch with a lot of local ladies here. It's called Slaying Las Vegas. It's part of the Slaying USA chapter book series, and we're actually launching that August 21st. So perfect timing to announce it.
Okay. Now, um what when you think about everything that you're doing, what do you like want to be known for? What do you want to be known for?
I just want to be known for somebody who I actually want to be known as being a mentor. I really do spend a lot of time with the not students, but just young professionals in our industry because I feel like that's something I didn't have. And thank you, Mandy, for highlighting my podcast and being a guest on it. I just want to add to that. You made it sound so much better than it was. That was my inaugural year, and I
I
was
love that
really,
podcast.
I know, but I was, it's you're playing it by ear. You're trying to figure out, you're finding your way, right? And we were still kind of in the pandemic, so I appreciate you for joining that. But when I talk about mentorship, Mandy and I go way back. So she and I actually worked together at the Caesars Hotel, Caesars Entertainment,
Mm,
and she was one of the nationals, and I was entry level EMM. And I kind of looked up to her because she was new in town, but she was so friendly, and we didn't get that a lot. A lot of the seasoned professionals sometimes are just really busy. They don't have a lot of time to give you. And I get it. They're meeting clients, they're, speaking at events and then running their team. So I always remember that with Mandy. And I told myself when I eventually get to her level as a national or higher, that I would offer that to young professionals because it's not often, open to people. They have to go out and find, their mentor. They have to find a boss who they can learn under. So yeah, I think it's important, especially when happy birthday, Mandy, by the way. I just
Thank
celebrated
you.
mhm.
my 50th birthday. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, you're still young. Well, I feel like I'm slowly kind of having a step back eventually as I get a little bit older. I know I'm not old, and we need to groom the newer generation. So I think mentorship and having a succession plan is huge for the success of a company.
All right. Mandy,
I'm
over to
so
you to
glad
kind of
to hear.
continue that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I wanted to touch on the Wayback Machine when I first met you, and that was
Yeah,
almost 16 years ago, Donna. This is a long time ago, right? It's like 15, yeah, 15, 16
yeah,
years ago. And I knew that you were going to light the world on fire. Like I knew you were a firecracker from the minute I met you because you kept coming
you're
to
so
me,
sweet.
but you were asking. You were like, what
Yeah,
about this? You were very curious, but you were also like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And so I want to ask you, you were paving a way for yourself back then, but for anybody else that might be in that role right now, right? Maybe they're a junior salesperson or junior events person, or maybe they're in a coordinator's role. What advice would you give them today to carve a path for themselves the way you've carved a path for yourselves?
definitely get involved. I know a lot of the younger professionals. I was an older young professional, meaning I wasn't fresh out of college. I was a young single mom in my early 30s. And so it's a little bit different, right? Um, I was trying to put myself out there. And like I said, the only way you can do that is getting involved. I never thought I would sit on boards. And Amani and I also go way back to my hotel days because
Mhm.
I was joining. It was so Miss Mai. She joined. She was a part of MPI SoCal, and I was part of that chapter as well. And I thought, okay, how can I get involved? She's like, we need a membership person. We need somebody to help. And Amani, I think you were the membership chair.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
she connected us, and I was like, okay, how do I get involved? And that was my first experience with associations. Now I've been part of NACE and on committees with WIPA, all that other fun stuff, and now Heels and Handshakes. I didn't know anything, and at first I thought this is a lot of work. Like, why would anyone want to do this on the side and not get paid? But you don't realize how many more connections you're making, how much exposure you're getting to other people outside of your market, because the MPI SoCal chapter is all of Southern California. How many new vendors you're connecting with, that's going to help you elevate your business. So definitely just getting involved and attending those networking associations or conferences like MPI WEC is another national conference where it brings everybody together. But involvement is key. No one's going to see you if you're hidden. If you think you're going to be able to have an opportunity to promote and keep advancing in your career while you're sitting, it's not going to happen. Nobody will know you.
So I want to continue to hang here because you were a trendsetter in your role then, in your trendsetter when you started the. So I want to continue to hang here because you were a trendsetter in your role then, in your trendsetter when you started the podcast. Tell us about the podcast and what made you start the podcast?
So the podcast, I believe I launched it the end of 2020. We're in a pandemic of find remote jobs, of course, because we were still shut down. And I thought, well, let me just start a podcast and interview people in our industry or, business owners in our industry to see how they got their start in business. Because, of course, as you see now, there's so many entrepreneurs. Everyone's trying to leave their corporate one day and say, I want to write a book and I want to open up a business. And it just launches and takes off from day one.
Yeah.
There's a process.
I think one of my favorite guests you had was the lady that did the chocolate dip bananas. What was her name?
Leah Lana's Bananas.
Oh my gosh, she was so cool. And I was like, what a great story. Like her grandpa loved that she was an influencer. And like I think I probably went to her website so many times to see those chocolate dips.
She was my first episode.
Yeah, she was so great. Yeah. And the tile lady too. I think, what was it?
Yes, Tile Designs by Fina. So she's actually
Yes.
a classmate of mine from high school. And it just kind of fell into place. She started her business and it's very successful. She's opened up her third location now in Southern California, the Coachella Valley. And it just started off because one day her corporate company decided to shut their doors and she was laid off. And she was like, what am I going to do? So yeah, if you listen to that episode, she decided to go ahead and start her own business, and look how much it's taken off now. And she's had so many stints on HGTV, being part of a ton of like the Splash House in Palm Springs. So I'm excited for her and her growth. And she actually recently started a podcast as well.
Awesome. I didn't realize that. I'll have to check that out. That's cool. Now for the podcast, what are something, Amani and I started ours 3 years ago. Amani had one before me, but this was my first podcast, and we've built in public, made lots of mistakes. We've learned so much along the way. What are a couple things you've learned along the way that you'll never do again, or a couple things that you're like, God, I'm glad I did this?
Definitely making sure you follow and I know not everyone's big on social media, but find somebody who can engage with your audience and not just be a great story, but if they're not engaging, it's like watching a boring movie. I've had some comments of previous guests and you're just trying, it's like squeezing their arm just to get them to smile or say something exciting. They have an amazing story, but yeah, definitely trying to find a little bit more about the guests that you want to bring on your show, because if they're not engaging at all and it's just like a one-word answer, it makes it difficult to make it an exciting show. So I've had a couple of guests like that. Love all my guests. However, a lot of them have expressed if they're really shy. They're like, can you kind of just run with it and fill in the empty space, you know, empty airtime? Like, sure.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
But still, it makes it better when there's a
So
little flavor.
it does. So in the spirit of learning on the fly, we're
Mhm.
having a lot of technical issues. So we can continue, but it might make sense for us to actually reschedule and record this again because it's cut out a bunch of times, and that's not going to be good for the final one. Reschedule because the internet's acting real funny and it's breaking up,
Okay.
and I want us to have a good recording
Yeah, I
because
think
we've had
yours
a
is
couple episodes
choppy.
that didn't happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we stop now. Let's figure
Hmm.
out because if you have a home office, right, Donna? Because if you have a home office, right, Donna? So that it might be best if we figure out a time when you're in your home
Yeah.
office, and then I can fix my internet because it's just choppy right now. It happened during the show. Mandy, what do you?
Yeah, let's look at, you want to look at
Okay.
our calendars and figure that out? We can just do that when we're together. We'll just record.